I joked, but actually I think it's true. And I said, Dad, this must be how it felt like when the internet came out.
It's a good analogy.
I was like, you guys didn't know what was going on and you thought it wasn't going to last. I said, that's kind of us right now. We're all scrambling. Everybody's coming out with AI this and AI that. So really just trying to keep up.
Welcome to the Walk Around podcast powered by JM&A Group. I am your co-host, Mark Spoto, joined by Heather Wilkinson.
And here we are again.
Here we are at SiriusXM Studios at the Wynn, Las Vegas, and we are joined by a very special guest,
Yes.
Karen Sutton Ford. Karen, you are president at Sutton Ford, vice president at Coco Ford, and the incoming president of the NextGen Committee as part of NAMAD.
Yes.
Welcome.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Of course. So I got to ask this right out of the gate.
Mark and I were talking about this. Mark even asked me.
Was this
best bet, a gamble?
marrying someone with the name Ford? Was that a requirement that you had, or how did that work out?
I wish. I joke I had to go all the way to Georgia to find him. So I was in grad school. I was only there for a year. And we actually met at a protest. So he just stopped me to ask me a question, and then somehow we exchanged numbers. It was like there was somebody else. We all exchanged numbers, and then the next day we went to church and just kind of started communicating. And now I was like, I just said, I'm from Chicago and I'm leaving. Like I literally have like 8 more months here in Atlanta. And he's just like, oh, okay. And that's how, and then he didn't understand. Right. So everybody would meet him and he would introduce himself and they would kind of laugh. And he would be like, what's so funny? And I would try to tell him, I kind of grew up around Ford. We have a dealership. It's called Sutton Ford. And he was just like, it's not that funny. So then once he finally saw it, and it was like,
oh, I can
understand the irony.
Right. When you're not in the automotive industry, it's hard to make that connection. But I'm sure the Ford corporate people love it.
I'm sure.
Karen Ford.
So
my dad's like, you can't name it. Like, what if you go buy another brand someday? And I'm like, Dad, I can't think that far down. Then when we had kids, they're like, you should name your child Lincoln. They're like,
So we often talk with our guests on the walk around about their journey into this business. And sometimes people are born into it. Sometimes people fall into it. But ultimately they love it. And in your case, it's kind of both. You were born and you fell into it. So take us back and tell us how you got to where you are today. What was that experience?
So, and my parents bought the dealership in 1989. So at the time I was maybe walking, maybe not. And basically growing up, apparently around like 11, I used to say like this, I want to take over. This is what I want to do.
Wow.
And they're like, she's a kid, whatever. And the rule at home was always after college, you have to, hopefully you go to college, right? And after college, you have to go get a job. You cannot come back and work at the dealership. Now you can go get a job at another dealership if you so desire, but they preferred us to go to corporate America.
And why is that? What was
my dad would always say, you need to get beat up. You need to get beat up. You need to understand what it's like to politic. You need to really understand corporate America. There's, they have a lot more money and structure in corporate America. So that's what I did. And I still followed his footsteps because he worked at IBM before he came into the dealership world. So my first job was with IBM in New York. Then I really wanted to get into I was looking to go to the automotive sector within IBM. And I said, hey, Dad, can you help me get a job, in automotive? And he was like, no. I'm like, what? So I said, how about this? I was like, you're going to NADA. Can I come with you? I said, will you pass my resume around? He said, no. So then I invited myself to his NADA trip. And we were down here. I think we stayed at like the Parish or something. And I brought my resume. And so then I worked at Toyota for a couple of years.
Really?
Yeah, Toyota corporate. And then I got the call. So I was in the San Francisco region at the time, and I got the call, hey, it's time to come home. And I was like, what? I was having a blast. The weather out there.
Yes.
So I said, but because I lived in San Francisco, a lot of friends, they were interested in graduate school. So they might come stay with me and then go visit, UCLA, Berkeley, or Stanford, whatever the schools were that they were going to see. So I said, Dad, I heard that there's a 1-year MBA. And he was like, a what? I said, yeah, there's one year MBA program. So can you just give me like one more year? And he said, you got 1 year, that's it.
And then
So I applied. Thankfully, I got in. They have one at Northwestern. I wasn't ready to come home yet, and that's how I ended up in Atlanta. So 1 year MBA, I graduated. I started at the dealership in our commercial and fleet department. So we're really big in fleet, top 5 in the nation. And we have that set up as individual business units. So it's not easy to pass along because, and they're like, they kind of hoard it. So we had some turnover. And so we lost some accounts, and my dad was like, well, they have to train her. So that's where I started. I started in the fleet department, and at the time we had three fleet managers, four, and now we have 8.
Wow, you've really grown. So having worked for the OEM, that's a very unique experience now to be running dealerships. What lessons did you learn early in your career having that OEM experience? Even maybe lessons learned you learned in corporate America, but specifically OEM to being a dealer.
Yeah, really a lot of it was around the relationship that, you have to work with that franchise. And just being in their shoes now, like calling on dealers and it's like, okay, I have this program I want you to do, but you really want to be a good partner with them and you have to find a way to make that partnership work. So even though you're individually owned and operated, that is still your partner. Like we're their number one customer and they help us out a lot. So really just a lot of it was around the relationship building.
And it sounds like it's, from your perspective, a two-way street.
Definitely.
Between the dealer and the OEM. Critically important to the success.
Yeah. So you are now a second generation dealer owner in the business. How and legacy is important for the store. How are you continuing that legacy that has been that was established by your father and others in the business? What does that mean to you to carry on the legacy?
I mean, it's really a true blessing, right? Because I want to say it's 50% of second generation businesses make it. And then it's like 20 or 30% make it through the third generation. And so just to have the opportunity to be here is something that I actually enjoy doing. Because like I said, my parents are, you can do whatever you want. You do not, there was no pressure whatsoever to come into the business. And so just to have the opportunity to do it and then do it alongside my sister, it's our vice president, he always calls us unicorns because he said, where in the automotive business can you find Black woman dealers who are sisters? There's like not one, but 2 kind of in the same channel. So it's just really a blessing because legacy is important. Everybody fought really hard to get here and just really looking forward to it.
You talked about, fought hard to get here, the legacy that you're building around.
We have some
your
fans.
We've got some fans outside waving to Karen. What have been some of the most rewarding moments in your journey to becoming a dealer? Rewarding moments. We always talk about the challenges, but what's been rewarding about it?
A lot of it is, one, being able to sit here and even just be able to say that you're a dealer. Every time you hear that, it's like, this is actually really real.
Do you ever go back, or are you still that 10-year-old little girl inside?
Sometimes, yeah. Yeah, it's always good to have that, right? And then just the humility. But just every day, just being able to see smiles on people's faces. That you're making a difference. So at the end, we're a for-profit business, but I have a lot of team members who count on me. And then just to hear them sometimes say thank you, or just to see them excel. We have our core values is Pruitt, and the P in Pruitt is personal growth. So to really see them, even if they leave our organization and go pursue what it is they want to do, is just to know that you had to stop here and we had something to do with your progression in your future. So that's really what makes me smile a lot. And actually, what our tagline at the dealership is, we'll give you Sutton to smile about.
I like it.
I like that.
So when you think about Pruitt and those values, it feels like you are trying to carry on and cultivate a culture in the store, right? In the store. So what does that culture feel like from your perspective? If you're if you are hiring someone in the business, what could they expect in terms of that culture?
Well, the rest of it in Pruitt, right? Personal growth, respect, urgency, integrity, and teamwork. And integrity is really, really big because, people who say, you're a car dealership, you can't have integrity. I'm like, what do you mean you can't? You shouldn't exist if you don't.
Right.
And there's no gray area. There's a lens that we look at all of our decisions through, and we have to hold one another accountable. So that's the culture that we try to build, is that our team knows that we're going to be there for them, but they also represent us. And so we want to be in the community. We want people to know that there's something different about us. And they say, well, what is that difference? And it's that we have morals and we have values, and we're going to try our best to provide a 100% completely satisfied experience to not only our guests, but also our team members. And that's the type of culture that we want. We want people to enjoy coming to work. We spend more time with one another at work than we do our own families. So you might as well have some fun while you're doing it.
As NAMAD's board member on NextGen and incoming president, how do those culture philosophies and what you see for the business, how does those initiatives flow through to what you see as in being important for NextGen and NAMAD?
Especially, again, on that personal growth piece, because the goal is for us to build the next generation of dealers. And everybody in there, you're not necessarily a daughter or a son of a dealer. You literally are the next generation. So anybody, salesperson, maybe somebody started off washing cars, you just never know. But that's our goal, is to help everybody hit those goals. And it's the most rewarding thing to see in NextGen, because I've been back in the dealership about 10 years. And I've seen some people get their first points. They've seen me finally take over. And it's just to be able to see that is part of our core values within NextGen, and just really supporting one another, being there for one another, being a listening ear, a helping hand. That's what we do.
So as you think about the operations side of the business now, what are you paying closest attention to? Are you focusing your energy on your people, on technology, the customer experience? What's your focus going forward and heading into next year?
A lot of it most is economics, and just everything that's rapidly changing around regulations, AI. Right? That's such a big thing. And I joked, but actually I think it's true. And I said, Dad, this must be how it felt like when the internet came out.
It's a good analogy.
I was like, you guys didn't know what was going on and you thought it wasn't going to last. I said, that's kind of us right now. We're all scrambling. Everybody's coming out with AI this and AI that. So really just trying to keep up. So when we talk about technology, that's important as well. It's really hard. One thing in the business that is really hard for me is that we have all this awesome technology, but I'd say 30% of it gets used. Maybe some of your programs, maybe 70% of it gets used. So why am I adding all this technology? Can I just get one piece of technology that we can master?
And that's a theme. We've heard that from some of our other dealers recently. And there's so much coming at you. How do you prioritize it?
It's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard. And there's probably some things that we probably should cut that we're not utilizing enough of. But a lot of times I really just take the main ones that we're using, and I really call on the representatives on that whatever organization, whatever third party. And I say, I need a weekly meeting out of you. I need you to make sure that my team is trained and they're ready. And then I talk to the team and say, team, all of this stuff costs a lot of money, and you're just dibble-dabbling a little bit of everything. I need somebody to be a master and own this particular thing.
You have to see an ROI.
Definitely. Most definitely.
So we've talked a lot also on the podcast about establishing connections with local communities. And I'm curious what you guys have found successful in making that connection with customers in the community and creating that relationship. Because I think a lot of dealers are trying to figure that out all the time. So what are some things that have really worked for you guys?
So we've been at our location now 25 years. So we've been in that community for a while, and we keep in touch with the mayor. My dad served on the Economic Development Committee for our village of Matson, and we also recently hired. She's been there about a year now. So we actually have a corporate social responsibility lead. And she used to work at the Obama Foundation. So it's like, she knows what to do. So she would ask me, she said, are you giving money to this organization? I'm like, I don't know. She's like, so you didn't, like, what did you do last year? I was like, I don't know. So many people ask me for money all the time. I just kind of do it how I feel. Depends on how I feel. Or have they done business with me? And so she's like, no.
You need a strategy.
You need a strategy.
Yeah.
And we need to line this out. And we need to let people know everything that you're doing in the community. She's like, Karen, you guys spend a lot of money. But it's also not just about the money. It's about serving, right? So we want to actually put some time. We actually want to put some time into the community. So I actually recently got to do, it was so cool. It's a organization. They have a lot of young ladies. And so it's like a Shark Tank. So I got to be a shark.
Oh, wow.
I thought that was really cool.
What a great idea.
So stuff like that to serve the community. We open our doors to a couple of organizations that come and do a tour of the building. And then we give them, a speech about saving and expenses and how to, the trajectory of your future. So we do, again, but we just have to do a better job of recapping it. And making sure that community that we're serving knows how much we're doing to give back to the community.
Corporate social responsibility.
Yes.
Something that you have to be thinking about. As you're thinking about the vision as the dealer, owner, operator of Sutton Ford and vice president of Coco Ford, what's your vision for your dealership organization over the next 5 years?
Yeah. So right now, the first word that comes to mind is growth. Growth. But that's just growth internally. So we have, my goal is to get back to selling 150 retail units a month at Sutton Ford. Right now we're 100, 110, but we have a lot of opportunity. So I want to focus internally on that. Coco Ford, we just been open 2 years. So we really need to focus on getting that to 150 to 200 units and making sure that we're sales effective and we're successful. And then at Coco, we've actually started an upfitting division. So because we're big in fleet, now we do the upfitting on police cars. So lights, metal, gun racks, you name it, we put it all in the car, in the vehicle. And so that's actually a startup. And I've never done a startup before. So I'm looking at the financial statement, I'm freaking out. And they're like, what do you expect? So that to me is going to take 2 to 3 years, right? I really want to see all of that flourish and, get President's Awards, keep our CSI up. And then after those 3 years, prayerfully, it only takes about 2 or 3 years. And those are flowing, then we can go look at some other opportunities. And just whatever opportunity may present itself, and then we can expand.
I'm curious. I want to go back to the first goal you mentioned about the volume growth. And, clearly that is probably a universal theme among our dealers is increasing sales. So when you think about the opportunity to grow that number, is it process? Is it people? Is it the technology? Is it all the above? What are some of the inventory challenges?
It's a lot in the process and the people for us. So in my mind, is you have the right team, you can do anything. And so I really feel that we're on the right track now. We just have a lot of new team members in the last couple of months, and the energy is way higher. So that was the first step, right? To get the right people. You want to get the right people on the bus and make sure they're in the right seat on that bus. And then it comes processes. You look back and, things that just seem so simple to you fell by the wayside at some point. And I don't know if it wasn't caught or what, because accountability can be a little bit difficult.
Yeah.
But some things that you just think are so simple, making sure you have the test drive, the salesperson goes in the test drive with them, wasn't being done. So that's the processes. If you have really good processes and you follow those processes, you should have a recipe for success.
Yeah.
I think it's time. Yes.
So the best part of our segment, and we know you're not a gambler, but we're going to do a little, but Mark is.
I got the alligator
So we're going to indulge
arms.
Mark's bets here.
So thank you, Heather. Here's how it's going to work.
Okay.
We're going to throw out some ideas or maybe a trend that's happening in automotive, and we want to hear from you. Are you going to bet it or are you going to forget it?
Okay.
Okay.
Right. Okay.
Here's the first one. Community first dealerships will outperform national chains over the next 10 years. Bet it or
I can
forget
bet on
it.
that one. I can bet on that.
Why do you think that is?
Because a lot of people to me, they want to do business with people that they feel like they can connect with.
Hmm.
And I get it. There's an internet game. You have Carvana. You have all these where there really is not that personal interaction. But that's a really expensive purchase.
Mm-hmm.
And even in your service, you want to know who you're doing business with. So I really believe that if you're serving the community, those same individuals will take care of you.
Okay. That's pretty solid.
Yeah, it is very solid. I'd love to
bet
know.
in Vegas.
I know. I'd love to know Karen's bet it or forget it on digital retail and its impact on the buying process.
For it, Heather.
Let's go for it.
You do it.
So bet it or forget it, Karen. By 2030, how much of the digital retail experience, the car buying experience, will be impacted by TikTok, by social media, as far as buying the vehicle, going through the process? How much will that be impacted?
By 2030?
Bet it or forget it. It's going to impact the business significantly.
I can bet it.
Okay.
Because social media, it can make or break you.
Mm-hmm.
Something goes viral, and now you're the coolest thing on the block, or it can be a negative thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're really trying to get into it. I see it more of a branding right now, where it's not like somebody just sees your ad and buys a car, right? But at the end of the day, it still influences people's decisions.
Do you think the expectation, though, is moving toward being able to buy the car through social media?
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
That one I'm really not sure. Being here, I talked to Amazon.
Right.
And they have the car buying on Amazon. And I'm like, I don't know if this one's really going to take up. I said, so can you buy a car on Amazon Prime? And was it going to be delivered the next day? And of course, it's evolving, but wouldn't that be crazy? That would be insane.
Yeah.
That would be, you literally buy the car. I mean, I guess that kind of is what Carvana does, right? Where you buy the car and then it's shipped to you the next day. But just the fact that it's Amazon. You're supposed to be there for I guess it's a consumer good. Yeah.
Okay, so here, this next one I think you're going to like, and you might have a strong opinion on it. Culture matters more than compensation when it comes to retaining top talent. Bet it or forget it.
Culture matters more than compensation. That one's a tough one because it has a lot to do with it. Have you heard the quote, culture eats strategy for breakfast?
Yes.
Yeah. And I personally, I would say bet it, but I think overall, if I'm looking at people, I'd probably say forget it. Forget it.
So
forget it. People want
their pay plan still matters.
Oh, definitely.
Obviously.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Some people put up with a lot more than what they should just because of the pay. Mm-hmm. And that's why I say that to me it's a bad culture, but
it could also get to the point where they're of equal weighting, where, I want the culture, but I also want to be compensated for it. But if you're compensating them appropriately with the right culture, people will work harder for you and be more committed to you. And I'm sure you've seen that, having been in business for so long with your dad. And I'm sure you have associates that have been with you all for quite some time for a reason.
Very long time.
Well, I did want to ask one final question. It's not a best bet, but as you're coming into this role as president of NextGen, what is some advice you want to leave for that NextGen dealer that is up and coming now? Maybe they're not ready to go into that role, but you want to start planting some seeds and some advice of how they can get ready. So what is that advice?
Own it. Own what you want to do and be a sponge. So if you set your mind to something and you know that's what you want to do, the resources, we're here, right? Amen. The resources are here, but you really have to set your mind to it, stick with it, and make sure that you're just laser focused on it. And like I said, be a sponge because there's so much to learn.
Yeah.
There's so much to learn, so just be open and just soak it all in. But there's a lot of opportunity out there. And of course, we want to see everybody hit their goals.
Mm-hmm. Well, with leaders like you, the NAMAD NextGen group is set for success.
They're in good
Thank you.
hands.
They are
It feels
in very
like they're in good hands.
That's
Thank you.
for
I
sure.
sure hope so.
Karen, can't thank you enough for your time with us today. It's been awesome to talk to you and get your advice, and you did well on the bets.
Exactly.
Thank you.
You're
I was
ready
like,
for
oh,
the
I'm a betting
tables.
person now.
You want to go with me to the tables now? Or?
I'll go enjoy happy hour
I think
first.
I think it's time for the Ford happy hour.
That's
Ford
right.
happy hour,
That's
that's
right.
right.
That's right.
Thank
Go
you,
for it.
Karen. We certainly appreciate you being here and wish you continued success.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you all.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We really appreciate you joining us today on The Walk Around, and we hope you enjoyed the episode. Please be sure to like, share, subscribe, and follow us. We look forward to seeing you next time on The Walk Around.